I've been playing Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes for over 7 hours now, and I finally got to my first duel, my first war, and the base building aspect of this game. Now, these were all highly anticipated features of the game, so let's talk about in this video whether those lived up to the hype or if they fell flat. First up, we're going to talk about the war, and this takes place during a siege on the town of Eitelweiss. So you are the defenders, and you are given control out of 3 units. So in this war mode, you can move your units 1 square at a time in certain directions, and it's going to be interesting to see if units get more movement or better range in the future. This was a very simple map, and so I just had to move my units up onto the walls. For some reason, I couldn't move my 3rd unit from the back middle spot to the forward middle position, so I just moved them to the wall too. This proved to be disastrous as the story event destroyed the middle wall, and that's probably why they didn't let me move there, but the enemy burst through and moved into that back zone of the city, which gave me a game over. This was kind of frustrating for me because by the time I realized what was happening, and I didn't know they were going to destroy the wall, there wasn't actually mathematically enough moves for me to get back into the right position, so I just knew that I had a game over no matter what. It felt pretty bad that the correct choice was to just sit back in the middle and not move a unit, especially because it was the very first battle. But maybe, I just missed some advice somewhere, or I'm just not a very good strategist. Either way, when you move a unit into a space where the opposing army is going to be, or where they already are, or vice versa, if they move into you, a battle will ensue. And so whichever unit is stronger will take over that space or just maintain the space they were defending. And that was what was happening when I was fighting on the walls. My units were stronger and they stayed up on the wall. So there's an animation for these skirmishes. And to be honest, it was really long for not any discernible reason. There is also some text at the bottom right of the screen that has like this, soldier died doing this one died doing that, this one's holding the line here. And I'm assuming all the names that were randomly coming up were maybe Kickstarter backers that, met a certain threshold. It didn't really add anything to the experience, so I was kind of disappointed with it. It would be cool if the information in there was actually relevant to the battle and you had to watch it to glean some information that would help you make a decision later. That would be really cool. But as it is, it just seemed kind of meaningless, and I could take it or leave it. So besides moving and attacking, each unit also has a unit buff skill that they could use 1 time per battle. The timing of these skills could be important in the future. It didn't really affect the outcome of this battle, but I'm sure in the future we'll get more charges of them or different versions, multiple different types, so you can pick and choose when to use those skills. Overall, my first war battle did not impress me. I'm really hoping this is just an introductory battle and that, I was hoping for too much. It's going to become more involved later on, but I'm also kind of half hoping that if this is all that it is, maybe it doesn't become too big of a battle, because the animations were so long. I don't think I could make it through a super long battle where all I'm doing is just moving people into position. So please, more depth. I guess I'll find out. And if you've already played further into the game, you can probably tell me. Duels in the Suikoden series were my favorite part of the game. And when I realized that I was jumping into a duel in Eiyuden Chronicle, I was so pumped. The music was really epic. The scene was set perfectly. And I was so excited. So in the duel, you generally have 2 options that you can use, attack or counter. And this is decreased from Suikoden, where you had a rock, paper, scissors system of an attack, heavy attack, and defend. There is a 3rd option in Eiyuden Chronicle, but you have to save up a tension meter in order to use it. So this plays out like a real duel, where there's, a lot of parrying. And so you get a lot of like ding sound effects as the weapons are bouncing off each other. And yes, in real life, you can't really get those juicy hits in on the person, and you can still duel after that. But I really like that in Suikoden. It felt good to actually be hitting somebody and doing some damage. I'm not here for, realism. I want to have my fantasy characters hitting each other. So there was a little bit too much, parrying for me, but I can understand the direction they went with that. There's also a ton of dialogue, which was awesome. But at a certain point, they just started repeating the same things over and over and over. And that's where they maybe could have transitioned to just having non-voice acted text pop up at the start of the round. So they're still keeping you immersed in, like, you know, the conflict that's happening here, but you're not hearing the same voice acted lines over and over, because a lot of the voice acting was really cool, but it started to lose its effect the more and more they said the same things over and over, because why would they repeat themselves so often in a duel? I think that this was a duel that I was supposed to lose because, man, I took so much damage and I could barely touch my opponent. At one point, they said I was guarding too much, but I don't know if that would have made a difference. Guarding was supposed to counter his attacks, so when I picked correctly, I still took like an extremely large amount of damage, guarding, but whatever. There was a point of the duel where I was thrown off the bridge and the duel continued below the bridge, which was super epic. I was really into it. But then when I lost the duel, we were magically transported back to the top of the bridge, and I did not like that immersion breaking. And so if they're going to do stuff like that, I wish they kind of just worked it into the scene afterwards, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. I will say that I like the duels more than I like the wars, but both of them are not living up to my hopes at this current time. And I understand that I am living in Nostalgiaville. Finally, we're going to talk about the base building aspect of Eiyuden Chronicles, because I finally gained access to the castle town that you're going to build up in this game. And this feature was easily the best of the three that I'm going to talk about in this video. The actual castle size was really good. It was a huge castle with a ton of different unique spaces and rooms and environments that you would come to expect in a game that is inspired by the Suikoden series. However, there's also an entire town attached to this castle, and you can build that up, fill it up with new shops, buildings, and characters. So when you get to the castle, you get to name it, but it's from a list of presets, which was kind of disappointing because I couldn't just name it whatever I wanted, like Masidiaville or something. And that kind of bummed me out, but maybe this name is going to be used in voice acting later on, so it had to be from a preset list. Although as soon as you name it, they don't ever say it. Like, no one ever says it. They say like, well, that's certainly a name, that classic thing. Either way, I had a lot of fun exploring the castle. I've explored it multiple times. I just love doing that. And also the town, there's some cool parts. There's some really cool vantage points you can get to in the town that I recommend that you check out. And afterwards, they give you some immediate freedom to go explore the world and recruit some characters. And now here's a little tip in case you're a dummy like me. You can actually go back to the starting area by going through the mine, and you just need to head back to the graveyard in the castle and go down the well. So I didn't really have a good memory, so I didn't realize that's where the entrance to the mines was, and nobody told me that, but my brother actually figured it out, and he shared that with me. And between sharing our accounts, it seems that I've probably missed recruiting 7 characters. I'm pretty sure all those characters are easy to go recruit afterwards, so it's not going to be a problem, because I have just carried on with the story after recruiting 3 characters in the immediate overworld of the castle area. Overall, I'm really enjoying Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, and I don't want you to confuse my disappointment with a few features with disappointment of the entire game. It's already one of my favorite games I've played in the recent past, and I'm really excited to finish the game, hopefully as soon as I can. But I'm also very curious about what you think about the duels, the wars, and the city building aspects of this game. You can also let me know if those things do get better later on. Just no spoilers, please, if you're going to be commenting about that. Otherwise, I'm out of here, and I'll see you all in the next video.